Welcome to the Odyssey. The Odyssey is an ancient Greek poem written around the 8th century BC. It tells the story of Odysseus, one of the heroes of the Trojan War, and his long journey home. We are going to read all of it, unabridged, one book per episode, 24 episodes. The translation is George Herbert Palmer's from 1891. Palmer put Homer into English prose rather than verse, and he wrote it to be read aloud. So, here is where we are. Troy has fallen. The 10-year siege that swallowed a generation of Greek men is over. The city is burned, and the men who took it have scattered across the sea to go home. Most of them made it. Some of them died on the way. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, has been gone for 20 years. 10 years at war, 10 years somewhere out on the water, and nobody in his kingdom knows his whereabouts. His son Telemachus was a baby when he left, and is a young man now. His wife Penelope is being courted, aggressively, by a hall full of local nobles who have moved into the palace and are eating their way through his herds and his wine. And the gods, who have been arguing about this man for years, are about to hold a meeting. That is where the poem begins. Book 1. Speak to me, Muse, of the adventurous man who wandered long after he sacked the sacred citadel of Troy. Many the men whose towns he saw, whose ways he proved, and many a pang he bore in his own breast at sea, while struggling for his life and his men's safe return. Yet even so, by all his zeal, he did not save his men, for through their own perversity they perished, fools, who devoured the kine of the exalted sun. Wherefore he took away the day of their return. Of this, O goddess, daughter of Zeus, beginning where thou wilt, speak to us also. Now all the others who were saved from utter ruin were at home, safe both from war and sea. Him only, longing for his home and wife, the potent nymph Calypso, a heavenly goddess, held in her hollow grotto, desiring him to be her husband. Nay, when the time had come in the revolving years at which the gods ordained his going home to Ithaca, even then, among his kin, he was not freed from trouble. Yet the gods felt compassion, all save Poseidon, who steadily strove with godlike Odysseus till he reached his land. But Poseidon now was with the far-off Ethiopians, the remotest of mankind, who formed two tribes, one at the setting of the Exalted One, one at his rising, awaiting there a sacrifice of bulls and rams. So sitting at the feast he took his pleasure. The other gods, meanwhile, were gathered in the halls of Zeus upon Olympus, and thus began the father of men and gods, for in his mind he mused of gentle Aegisthus, whom Agamemnon's far-famed son, Orestes, slew. Mindful of him, he thus addressed the immortals. Lo, how men blame the gods, from us, they say, spring troubles. But through their own perversity, and more than is their due, they meet with sorrow, even as now Aegisthus, pressing beyond his due, married the lawful wife of the son of Atreus, and slew her husband on his coming home. Yet he well knew his own impending ruin, for we ourselves forewarned him, dispatching Hermes, our clear-sighted speedy-comer, and told him not to slay the man nor woo the wife. For because of the son of Atreus shall come vengeance from Orestes when he is grown and longs for his own land. This Hermes said, but did not turn the purpose of Aegisthus by his kindness. And now Aegisthus makes atonement for it all? Then answered him the goddess, clear-eyed Athene, our father, son of Cronos, most high above all rulers, that man assuredly lies in befitting ruin. So perish all who do such deeds. Yet is my heart distressed for wise Odysseus, hapless man, who, long cut off from friends, is meeting hardship upon a sea-girt island, the navel of the sea. Woody the island is, and there a goddess dwells, daughter of wizard Atlas, who knows the depths of every sea, and through his power holds the tall pillars which keep earth and sky asunder. It is his daughter who detains this hapless, sorrowing man, ever with tender and insistent words enticing to forgetfulness of Ithaca. And still Odysseus, through longing but to see the smoke spring from his land, desires to die. Nevertheless, your heart turns not, Olympian one. Did not Odysseus seek your favor beside the Argive ships and offer sacrifice upon the plain of Troy? Why then are you so wroth against him, Zeus? Then answered her cloud-gathering Zeus, and said, "My child, what word has passed the barrier of your teeth? How could I possibly forget Prince Odysseus, who is beyond all mortal men in wisdom, beyond them too, in giving honor to the immortal gods, who hold the open sky? Nay, but Poseidon, the girder of the land, is ceaselessly enraged because Odysseus blinded of his eye the Cyclops, godlike Polyphemus, who of all Cyclops has the greatest power. A nymph, Thusa, bore him, daughter of Phorcys, lord of the barren sea, for she within the hollow caves united with Poseidon. And since that day, the earth-shaking Poseidon does not indeed destroy Odysseus, but ever drives him wandering from his land. Come then, let us all here plan for his turning home. So shall Poseidon lay by his anger, unable, in defiance of us all, to strive with the immortal gods alone." Then answered him the goddess, clear-eyed Athene, "Our father, son of Cronos, most high above all rulers, if it now please the blessed gods that wise Odysseus shall return to his own home, let us send Hermes forth, the guide, the speedy comer, into the island of Ogygia, straightway to tell the fair-haired nymph our steadfast purpose, that hardy Odysseus shall set forth upon his homeward way. I, in the mean, while go to Ithaca, to rouse his son yet more, and to put vigor in his breast, that, summoning to an assembly the long-haired Achaeans, he may denounce the troop of suitors, men who continually butcher his thronging flocks and swing-paced, crook-horned oxen. And I will send him to Sparta and to sandy Pylos, to try to learn of his dear father's coming, and so to win a good report among mankind." Saying this, under her feet she bound her beautiful sandals, immortal, made of gold, which carry her over the flood and over the boundless land, swift as a breath of wind. She took her ponderous spear, tipped with sharp bronze, thick, long, and strong, with which she vanquishes the ranks of men, of heroes even, when this daughter of a mighty sire is roused against them. Then she went dashing down the ridges of Olympus, and in the land of Ithaca stood at Odysseus' gate, on the threshold of his court. Holding in hand a brazen spear, she seemed the stranger Mentes, the Taphian leader. Here, then, she found the haughty suitors. They were amusing themselves with games of draughts before the palace door, seated on hides of oxen, which they themselves had slain. Their pages and busy squires were near, some mixing wine and water in the bowls, others with porous sponges washing and laying tables, while others still carved them abundant meat. By far the first to see Athene was princely Telemachus, for he was sitting with the suitors, sad at heart, picturing in mind his noble father, how he might come from somewhere, make a scattering of the suitors, take to himself his honors, and be master of his own. Thus thinking while he sat among the suitors, Athene met his eye. Straight to the door he went, being at heart ashamed to have a stranger stand so long before his gate. So drawing near and grasping her right hand, he took her brazen spear, and speaking in winged words he said, "Hail, stranger, here with us you shall be welcome, and by, when you have tasted food, you shall make known your needs." Saying this, he led the way, and Pallas Athene followed. When they were come within the lofty hall, he carried the spear to a tall pillar, and set it in a well-worn rack, where also stood many a spear of hardy Odysseus. Athene herself he led to a chair and seated, spreading a linen cloth below. Good was the chair and richly wrought. Upon its lower part there was a rest for feet. Beside it, for himself, he set a sumptuous seat apart from all the suitors, for fear the stranger, meeting rude men, and worried by their din, might lose his taste for food, and then that he might ask him too about his absent father. Now water for the hands. A servant brought in a beautiful pitcher made of gold, and poured it out over a silver basin for their washing, and spread a polished table by their side. And the grave housekeeper brought bread and placed before them, setting out food of many a kind, freely giving of her store. The carver too took platters of meat, and placed before them meat of all kinds, and set their golden goblets ready, while a page, pouring wine, passed to and fro between them. And now the haughty suitors entered. These soon took seats in order, on couches and on chairs. Pages poured water on their hands, maids heaped them bread in baskets, and young men brimmed the bowls with drink, and on the food spread out before them they laid hands. So, after they had stayed desire for drink and food, then in their thoughts they turned to other things, the psalm and dance, for these attend a feast. A page put a beautiful harp into the hands of Phemius, who sang perforce among the suitors, and touching the harp, he raised his voice and sang a beautiful song. Then said Telemachus to clear-eyed Athene, his head bent close, that others might not hear, "Good stranger, will you feel offense at what I say? These things are all their care, the harp and psalm, an easy care. When making no amends, they eat the substance of a man whose white bones now are rotting in the rain, if lying on the land, or in the sea the waters roll them round. Yet were they once to see him coming home to Ithaca, they all would pray rather for speed of foot than stores of gold and clothing. But he, instead, by some hard fate is gone, and naught remains to us of comfort. No, not if any man on earth shall say he still will come. Past is his day of coming. But now declare me this, and plainly tell, who are you? Of what people? Where is your town and kindred? On what ship did you come? And how did sailors bring you to Ithaca? Whom did they call themselves? For I am sure you did not come on foot. And tell me truly this, that I may know full well if for the first time now you visit here, or are you my father's friend? For many foreigners once sought our home, because Odysseus also was a rover among men." Then said to him the goddess, clear-eyed Athene, "Well, I will very plainly tell you all. Mentes, I call myself, the son of wise Anchialus, and I am lord of the oar-loving Taphians. Even now I put in here, with ship and crew, when sailing over the wine-dark sea, to men of a strange speech, to Temesi, for bronze. I carry glittering iron. Here my ship lies, just off the fields outside the town, within the bay of Kithron, under woody Neon. Hereditary friends, we count ourselves from early days, as you may learn if you will go and ask old Lord Laertes, who, people say, comes to the town no more, but far out in the country suffers hardship, an aged woman his attendant, who supplies him food and drink, whenever weariness weighs down his knees, as he creeps about his slope of garden around. Even now I came, for I was told your father was at home, but as I see, the gods delay his journey. For surely nowhere yet on earth has royal Odysseus died. Living, he lingers somewhere still on the wide sea, upon some sea-girt island, and cruel men constrain him, some savage folk, who hold him there against his will. Nay, I will prophesy such things as the immortals bring to mind, things which I think will happen, although I am no prophet and have no skill in birds. Not long shall he be absent from his own dear land, though iron fetters bind him. Some means he will devise to come away, for many a shift has he. But now declare me this, and plainly tell, if you indeed so tall are the true son of Odysseus. In head and beautiful eyes you surely are much like him. So often we were together before he embarked for Troy, where others too, the bravest of the Argives, went in their hollow ships. But since that day I have not seen Odysseus, nor he me." Then answered her discreet Telemachus, "Yes, stranger, I will plainly tell you all. My mother says I am his child. I myself do not know, for no one ever yet knew his own parentage. Yet would I were the son of some blessed man on whom old age had come amongst his own possessions. But now, the man born most ill-fated of all humankind, of him they say I come, since this you ask me." Then said to him the goddess, clear-eyed Athene, "Surely the gods meant that your house should not lack future fame, when to such son as you Penelope gave birth. Nevertheless declare me this, and truly tell, what is the feast? What company is this, and what is your part here? Some drinking bout, or wedding? It surely is no festival at common cost. So rude they seem, and wanton, feasting about the hall. A man of sense must be indignant who comes and sees such outrage." Then answered her discreet Telemachus, "Stranger, since now you ask of this and question me, in former days this house bade fair to be wealthy and esteemed, so long as he was here, but the hard-purposed gods then changed their minds and shut him from our knowledge more than all men beside. For were he dead, I should not feel such grief. If he had fallen among comrades in the Trojan land, or in the arms of friends when the skein of war was wound, then would the whole Achaean host have made his grave, and for his son in after days a great name had been gained. Now, silent he, the robber winds have swept him off. Gone is he, past all sight and hearing, and sighs and sorrows he has left to me. Yet now I do not grieve and mourn for him alone, because the gods have brought me other sore distress. For all the nobles who bear sway among the islands, Dulichion, Same, and woody Zakynthos, and they who have the power in rocky Ithaca, all woo my mother and despoil my home. She neither declines the hated suit, nor has she power to end it, while they with feasting impoverish my home, and soon will bring me also to destruction. Stirred into anger, Pallas Athene spoke, Alas! In very truth, you greatly need absent Odysseus to lay hands on the shameless suitors. What if he came even now and here before his house stood at the outer gate, with helmet, shield, and his 2 spears, even such as when I saw him first at my own home, drinking and making merry, on his return from Ephyra, from Ilus, son of Murmurus. For thither on his swift ship went Odysseus, seeking a deadly drug in which to dip his brazen arrows. And Ilus did not give it, for he feared the immortal gods. My father, however, gave it, for he held him strangely dear. If, as he was that day, Odysseus now might meet the suitors, they all would find quick turns of fate and bitter rites of marriage. Still, in the god's lap it lies to say if he shall come and wreak revenge within his halls. But yours it is to plan to thrust the suitors from your door. Give me your ear, and heed my words. Tomorrow, summoning to an assembly the Achaean lords, announce your will to all, and call the gods to witness. Bid the suitors all disperse, each to his own. And for your mother, if her heart inclines to marriage, let her return to her strong father's hall. They there shall make the wedding, and provide the many gifts which should accompany a well-loved child. Then for yourself I offer sound advice, if you will hearken. Man the best ship you have with 20 oarsmen, and go and gather tidings of your long-absent father. Perhaps some man may tell you, or you may catch a rumor sent from Zeus, which oftenest carries tidings. First go to Pylos and question royal Nestor, then on to Sparta to light-haired Menelaus, for he came last of all the mailed Achaeans. And if you hear your father is alive and coming home, then, worn as you are, you might endure for 1 year more. But if you hear that he is dead, no longer with the living, you shall at once return to your own native land, and pile his mound and pay the funeral rites, full many as are due, and you shall give your mother to a husband. Moreover, after you have ended this and finished all, within your mind and heart consider next how you may slay the suitors in your halls, whether by stratagem or open force. You must not hold to childish ways, because you are no longer now the child you were. Have you not heard what fame royal Orestes gained with all mankind, because he slew the slayer, wily Aegisthus, who had slain his famous father? You too, my friend, for certainly I find you fair and tall. Be strong, that men hereafter born may speak your praise. Now I will go to my swift ship, and to my comrades, who greatly chafe at waiting. Rely upon yourself. Heed what I say. Then answered her discreet Telemachus, Stranger, in this you speak with kindness, even as a father to a son. Never shall I forget it. But tarry now, though eager for your journey. Bathe and refresh your soul. Then glad at heart turn to your ship, bearing a gift of value, very dutiful, to be to you a keepsake from myself, even such a thing as dear friends give to friends. Then answered him the goddess, clear-eyed Athene, Do not detain me longer now, when I am anxious for my journey, and any gift your heart may bid you give when I come again, for me to carry home. Choose one exceeding beautiful, it shall be matched in the exchange. Saying this, clear-eyed Athene passed away, even as a bird, a sea-hawk, takes its flight. Into his heart she had brought strength and courage, turning his thoughts upon his father more even than before. As he marked this in his mind, an awe came on his heart. He knew a god was with him. Straightway he sought the suitors, godlike himself. To them the famous bard was singing, while they in silence sat and listened. He sang of the return of the Achaeans, the sad return which Pallas Athene had appointed them on leaving Troy. Now from her upper chamber they heard this wondrous song, the daughter of Icarius, heedful Penelope, and she descended the long stairway from her room, yet not alone. 2 damsels followed her. And when the royal lady reached the suitors, she stood beside a column of the strong-built roof, holding before her face her delicate wimple, the while a faithful damsel stood upon either hand. Then, bursting into tears, she said to the noble bard, Phemius, many another tale you know to charm mankind, exploits of men and gods, which bards make famous. Sit and sing one of these, the rest drink wine in silence. But cease this song of woe, which harrows evermore the soul within my breast, because on me has fallen grief that cannot be forgotten. So dear a face I miss, ever remembering one whose fame is wide through Hellas and mid-Argos. Then answered her discreet Telemachus, My mother, why forbid the honoured bard to cheer us in whatever way his mind is moved? The bards are not to blame, but rather Zeus, who gives to toiling men even as he wills to each. And for the bard, there is no ground for censure if he sings the Danaans' cruel doom. The song which men most heartily applaud is that which comes the newest to their ears. Then let your heart and soul submit to listen. For not Odysseus only lost the day of his return at Troy, but many another perished also. Nay, seek your chamber and attend to matters of your own, the loom, the distaff, and bid the women ply their tasks. Words are for men, for all, especially for me, for power within this house rests here. Amazed, she turned to her own room again, for the wise saying of her son she laid to heart, and coming to the upper chamber with her maids, she there bewailed Odysseus, her dear husband, till on her lids clear-eyed Athene caused a sweet sleep to fall. But the suitors broke into uproar up and down the dusky hall. Each prayed to lie beside her. But thus discreet, Telemachus began to speak. You suitors of my mother, overweening in your pride, let us enjoy our feast, and have no brawling now. For a pleasant thing it is to hear a bard like this, one who is like the gods in voice. But in the morning let us all take seats in the assembly, where I may unreservedly announce my will that you shall quit my halls. Seek other tables and eat what is your own, changing from house to house. Or if it seems to you more profitable and better to ruin the living of one man without amends, go wasting on. But I will call upon the gods that live forever, and pray that Zeus may grant deeds of requital. Then beyond all amends, here in this house you shall yourselves be ruined. He spoke, and all with teeth set in their lips marveled because Telemachus had spoken boldly. Then said Antinous, Eupeithes' son, Telemachus, surely the gods themselves are training you to be a man of lofty tongue and a bold speaker. But may the son of Cronos never make you king in sea-girt Ithaca, although it is by birth your heritage. Then answered him discreet Telemachus, Antinous, will you feel offense at what I say? This I would gladly take, if Zeus would grant it. Do you suppose the kingship is the worst fate in the world? Why, it is no bad thing to be a king. Soon the house of a king grows rich, and he himself is honored more. Still, as to kings of the Achaeans, here in sea-girt Ithaca are many others, young and old, some one of whom may take the place, since royal Odysseus now is dead. But I myself will be the lord of our own house, and of the slaves which royal Odysseus won for me. Then answered him Eurymachus, the son of Polybus, Telemachus, In the god's lap it lies to say which one of the Achaeans shall be king in sea-girt Ithaca. Your substance may you keep, and of your house be lord. May the man never come who, heedless of your will, shall strip you of that substance, while men shall dwell in Ithaca. But, good sir, I would ask about this stranger, whence the man comes, and of what land he calls himself. Where are his kinsmen in his native fields? Does he bring tidings of your father's coming, or is he come with hope of his own gains? How hastily he went, not waiting to be known. And yet he seemed no low-born fellow by the face. Then answered him discreet Telemachus, Eurymachus, As for my father's coming, that is at an end. Tidings I trust no longer, let them come whence they may. Nor do I care for divinations, such as my mother seeks, summoning a diviner to the hall. This stranger is my father's friend, a man of Taphos. Mentes he calls himself, the son of wise Ancaeus, and he is lord of the oar-loving Taphians. So spoke Telemachus, but in his mind he knew the immortal goddess. Meanwhile the suitors to dancing and the gladsome song turned merrily, and waited for the evening to come on. And on their merriment dark evening came. So then, desiring rest, they each departed homeward. But Telemachus himself, where on the beautiful court his chamber was built high upon commanding ground, went to his bed with many doubts in mind, and walking by his side, with blazing torch, went faithful Euryclea, daughter of Ops, Paesenor's son, whom once Laertes purchased with his substance when she was but a girl, and paid the price of 20 oxen. Her, equally with his faithful wife, he honored at the palace, but he never sought her bed, avoiding a wife's anger. Now she it was who bore the blazing torch beside Telemachus, for she of all the handmaids loved him most, and was his nurse when little. He opened the doors of the strong chamber, sat down upon the bed, pulled his soft tunic off, and laid it in the wise old woman's hands. Folding and smoothing out the tunic, she hung it on a peg beside the well-bored bedstead, then left the chamber, and by its silver ring pulled to the door, drawing the bolt home by its strap. So there, Telemachus, all the night long, wrapped in a fleece of wool, pondered in mind the course Athene counselled.